guys, today we're going to look at how we actually experience and interpret the world and what that has to do with your writing fear. You probably don't think about a lot how you do writing fear. You probably think about why you have writing fear. You think about how bad it is to have writing fear and how much you probably would wish that you didn't have writing fear, but you probably don't spend a lot of time thinking about how you do it. If we're going to remove something, if we want to get rid of something, if we don't want to do writing fear, it makes sense that we should probably look at how we do it if that's something that we want to change. So the first step of looking at how we do something is understanding how we interpret the world around us. Because that's our only understanding of why we feel the way we do, why we do the way we do, that is the baseline of how we interact in our world. So let's look at how we interpret our world and what that has to do with writing fear. So you'll see that there's only 5 ways that we can interpret our world. So that is with our eyes, with our feelings, with our touch, with our smell, with our taste, and with our hearing. So they're the only ways. If you took away, if we couldn't hear, if we couldn't see, if we couldn't taste and we couldn't smell and we couldn't have the sensation of touch, we wouldn't be able to interpret what is happening to the world around us. We wouldn't know what happened. We wouldn't know that our horse shook its head. We wouldn't know that our horse is in a good mood or a bad mood. We wouldn't know if there's a dog about to jump out and scare our horse, or a rubbish bin coming to scare our horse. We just wouldn't know any of that. I don't think we'd be riding horses. So it's nice to know, sometimes when we're living through life, we're like, there's so much going on. There's so much to think about and there's so much happening. Well, firstly, just realize we're only interpreting our world in 5 different ways. And then the second thing to learn is, even though we're experiencing our world in 5 different ways, that is actually a whole heap of information. So scientists guesstimate, because how would they really know, but they guesstimate we get about 2 million bits of information coming into our brain every single second. And you're like, oh, 2 million sounds like a lot, but just think about it. As you're sitting here or standing here listening to me talking, you're hearing my voice. You're also figuring out, what that means and having your own self-talk about what I'm saying. You're also, if you're sitting on a chair, feeling the sensation of the chair on your seat bones. You're actually also feeling the sensation, I trust you're wearing clothes, of the clothes on your thighs. If you've got socks on your feet, you're feeling the sensation of the socks on your feet, as well as the sensation of the feet on the floor. All these little bits of information. You might also be hearing birds chirping in the distance, or car noise in the distance, or aeroplane noise in the distance. You might be in a cafe and you're hearing clitter clatter of coffees and people talking. All these other things could be happening. And when you start deciphering that, you go, oh, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe there is 2 million bits of information. And you would go absolutely crazy if you had to deal with 2 million bits of information every single second. So our brain has to do 3 very important things that it does unconsciously all the time, 24 hours a day. And that is either delete information, distort information, or generalize information. So let's recap. The world is happening. We're experiencing it through our 5 senses. It comes in through our 5 senses, unfiltered. 2 million bits of information comes in through our 5 senses. And now we have to deal with that. So our brain has to go into a filtering system and figure out what to do with all this information. I trust that was helpful. Let me know what your 7 plus or minus 2 chunks were. Let me know what you were distilling and deleting and distorting and generalizing down to those 7 plus or minus 2 chunks. And remember to tune in next week. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and tune in for next week, where we're going to go more further, deeper into this topic and into helping you overcome your writing fear. And also remember, if you want more help, I have a class that details what you need to do to overcome fear in your writing right now. So click on the link in the show notes to access that. See you next week.